Alright, so here we are in Caduceus, where devils roam. There is a temple at the top of a mountain, reached by a long pilgrim road. Inside it, statues of devils bearing instruments march toward a throne. The smell of roses lingers. Inside the Palace of the Rose, it's drowsy with the scent of roses, though you can see none. There's a woman crowned in thorns sitting on a white throne. This is her, presumably. I think that I get this vibe that some of these pictures are of real people. I don't know why, but this one looks like an actual person to me. You guys get that vibe? Like, I look at her, I don't know, maybe it's just like the glasses and the cut, but she looks more modern than I would expect. Like, the princess, I feel like her facial features don't have as much going on. Same with him. Same with her. She's clearly like more of a caricature. I think all of these people, right? This one though, look at this person. That also kind of looks like a real person. I don't know, just something about there's more detail and almost more imperfection in the portraits. I could be talking completely out of my ass, but it's just a hunch. Like how in Divinity 2, they probably did in Divinity 1 too. There are like portraits on the walls of portraits you can collect of actual people. I like that. It's like a little nod to Patreon backers or whoever, you know, they want to put inside the game. But anyway, okay. Let's investigate the temple. This gives me a report, right? Or does it not? I don't know. The March of the Roses. It does not. Marble statues of devils line the aisles. They have wreaths over their horns. Their lips are daubed scarlet as sin. Their eyes are the colors of ash and sunlight. The detail is breathtaking. Their lyres and lutes, flutes and fiddles, drums and dulcimers are so perfectly carved that but for the material they could be real. Frescoes depict a troupe of musicians marching towards a slender mirror. Pipers, flautists, drummers, all. Statues of serpents coil over the musicians. Oh, and we're back to mention of mirrors and serpents. Huh. Thorn bushes, bereft of roses, encircle the chamber. The plants are tended by devils in crimson masks. These devils are the rose binders of Caduceus. Within this space bounded by the bushes, the Bohemians make their art, all of it on the subject of roses. That's really interesting. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but take a moment to think about people who have dedicated their lives to expressing a certain thing, in this case, roses, in a place where there are specifically no roses present. Like, yeah, it's drowsy with the scent of roses, though you can see none. They're purposefully pruning the roses away from the rose bushes, and yet they have these people dedicated to, yeah, creating art about roses. That's really interesting. Kind of an art from adversity perspective, you know, like you have to suffer to produce something worthwhile, almost, or like you can. The absence of something and the subsequent imagining of it is somehow more real or more powerful than the actual thing itself. I mean, we know that can be true, right? The memory of something or the idealized version of something is often stronger than the thing itself, which is just ordinary. Anyway. What is Caduceus? Did I just do this? Yeah, okay. Let's talk to the Thorn Maiden. From her throne she watches all. Her crown is thorned, her stave coiled with snakes. Her eyes are quiet as an ox's. As you approach, she raises a hand, bedecked with rings of white sapphires. Whether she's bidding you approach or refrain is unclear. She considers me, then approximates a smile. Her fingers still tap against the marble arm of her throne, in time with the drum from below. How may I serve? She asks. Her voice resonates like beaten bronze. What's up with Caduceus? A refuge of sorts. Her voice is without any affect. The intonation is hollow. I found Caduceus not long after I arrived in Eleutheria. I was frustrated with the methodologies of Winter's Reside. Where was the poetry? Where was the beauty in all the horror? Her fingertips dance as she speaks. The devils were here before me. They were wearing those masks when I arrived. This temple was once something else, something important to them. They reclaimed it, though, for a new purpose. She trails off, having lost interest in your inquiry. How are you? Are you bored? Her eyes widen. Is it obvious? Her tone doesn't change. The waiting between rites becomes more intolerable. All these people, she gestures, her bracelets are set jangling, venerating me, but all they care for are the roses. I am a link in the chain, not the pearl in the crown. She sighs and looks away. What is her purpose here? Is she like a muse? I'm a link in the chain, not the pearl in the crown. So she's not... Yeah, she's some part of the process, but she's not like the final result. Huh. Alright, what are the rose rites? I must not only participate in the rites, but learn some of their mysteries. So I guess I'll have to do that before. Okay, let's descend to the caverns. Beneath the temple, the mountain... Oh, let's level up first, actually. I want hearts. Wait, what are my hearts at right now? They're at 51. So yeah, if I get full hearts and then I switch to the the person who gives me more hearts, 10 hearts, then I'll have enough to use that item, which is awesome. So please give me one that has hearts as the primary. No, of course you didn't. Go fuck yourself. Oh my god. Man, that's a bitch. Now I have to think about breakpoints. So like if I had gotten a facet that had hearts as their primary attribute, I'd be able to get to 66, which is very close to that threshold, right? It's basically wasting 1 point, but not bad. If I chose 2 that had hearts as their minor skill, I'd be getting to 67, which is kind of wasting more. So I could either take 1 with hearts as the minor skill, probably waste more, but be more assured of getting it in 2 levels, or I could take something else that I actually care about, this level, and bank on the fact that I'm going to get a facet with hearts as the primary attribute the next level. And I'm a greedy motherfucker, so you know I'm doing the latter. And I'm going to take this because it's going to give me an additional affiliation. The only question is, do I want more mirrors or more veils? I think more mirrors, because I'm not currently employing people who give me many buffs to that. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, I'm happy with that. Okay, good. So, let's descend to the caverns. Beneath the temple, the mountain on which Caduceus rests is tunneled through with caves. A drum beat, slow but steady, sounds from below. Underneath the dome is a warren of caverns, a labyrinth of caves, walled with slabs of volcanic black glass, burrow their way through the rock. Did I already read that? Not quite. Just steady drum beat. Okay. Let's follow the rose binders. A devil and a deviless. They wait in the main cavern, their eyes like coals in the dark. The deviless beckons you to follow her. Okay. A moonlit pool. You're led down darkly gleaming passages, heading deeper under the main temple of Caduceus. The devil walks at your side. He occasionally uses his thyrsus to strike the ground, as if testing the depth of your descent. What the fuck is a thyrsus? A wand or staff of giant fennel covered with ivy vines and leaves, sometimes wound with teniae and topped with a pine cone, artichoke, fennel, or by a bunch of vine leaves. Let me see an image of this. Huh. I'll throw an image up here. Okay, yeah, it's like a staff with a fucking pine cone on top. It looks a little goofy. Who is it like associated with? Carried during Hellenic festivals and religious ceremonies. That doesn't tell you a whole lot. Typically associated with Dionysus and represents prosperity, fertility, and hedonism. Okay. Prosperity, fertility, and hedonism. Okay, so things aren't exactly like astringent here. Good to know. Alright. So, you emerge into a cavern lit by moonish light pouring through a crack in the roof. A broken temple stands before a pool of dark water. The Deviless bids you to kneel by the pool and drink. I mean, we've got to do it, right? Drink deeply. As you kneel, the Deviless places a red cloth around your eyes. The Devil touches your forehead with a thyrsus as he pushes you toward the water. You feel the water lapping against your chin, your mouth, your tongue. It tastes rich as wine, velvet, smooth, and wild. The drum beat here, with your ear pressed against the rock, is louder. It grows louder still, insistent and incessant. The cavern vibrates with it. The Deviless pulls you from the water. The drummer deems you worthy. She smiles, bright as a new moon. You may participate in the mysteries of our arboretum. Okay. Let's follow the beating of the drums. Following the sound leads you in what feels like circles. You travel between cave after cave, the tunnels narrowing like a throat as you go deeper. The drums sound on, a steady funerary beat. You're forced to cleave to a wall slick with dripping condensation, for the tunnel here has the width of a wicked king's spine. The width of a wicked king's spine. As you do, the drums cease for a moment, and you hear a sound like a finger tapping on glass. When you emerge from the thin cave, you find yourself in the large, wide cavern where you began. Oh, okay. Well, I guess okay. Well, I guess let's write a port report. The ebullient decadent. Let's talk to him. Captain, he calls. What does he want? A poet with a tangle of violet and red hair. Captain, he beams at you. You'll have heard of me, or my poems, although perhaps you haven't. I get censored, so. His eyes are wide and wild. My muse is disapproved of. I came to Eleutheria to be inspired, and my God, I have been. I've written panegyrics to our dark star, odes to the maiden who presides here, she is a muse, but I cannot get published in London. He sniffs, frowns, smiles once more. Please take my latest to my publisher's storages in London. It's better than my last. But they won't even read it. Pass it off as yours. Please say you will. He pushes a sheaf of yellowing pages into your hand. Thank you. All right. I knew that. Explore the temple? Have I done that yet? Old powers. Corinthian columns line the processional, though their capitals bear budding roses rather than acanthus leaves. Devils, unmasked, recur on the frescoes. Only the wall behind the throne has been left without adornment. The temple contains a multitude of shrines, scattered throughout the complex like links on a chain. Like links on a chain. Each holds a reliquary to a single figure. One is to the fiddler, another to the piper, a third to the drummer, the chorister, and the violist. The rosebinders treat these shrines with a reverence that borders on fear. So are those their different muses? Kinda sounds like it. Do we participate in the Rite of the Rose? I need a moment of I need 3 moments of inspiration. Holy guacamole. Let me think about that a little bit. What can I do here? Hey devils, they sell souls. I guess that's appropriate. Did I come here with something? Right, yeah, I came here with souls to sell. Okay. Oh, sweet. So when you do bargains, you fulfill prospects, I mean, you gain mysteries. That's useful. Do I participate in the Rite of the Rose? I mean, I have to, right? Too tempting to not. Alright, let's do it. For those suitably attuned, the Thorn Maiden is willing to perform the rites of the Rose. It's the great mystery at Caduceus's heart. The Thorn Maiden rises from her throne and strikes a single bell. Rose binders advance on the throngs, passing out garlands of thorns. A rose binder wearing a mask of thorns and petals passes you a garland. It fits about your neck easily, like a stole. It reeks like a bottle of perfume left out in the sun. Like rotting roses, I'm assuming. Your fellow visitors to Caduceus are approaching the throne, their arms outstretched, their eyes agleam. The Thorn Maiden turns away from the supplicants and faces the marble wall behind the throne. She raises her arms and lifts the crown from her head. The rest is lost in a crest of sudden sunlight that crashes over the temple like a golden wave. Is she like an avatar? Like she's... something is going to be moving through her? The roses are in full bloom. As your eyes adjust to the illegal radiance of the sudden sunlight, you can see that the arboretum has been entirely transformed. The statues are covered and crowned in wild roses of every possible color. Impossible roses bloom on the throne and on the marble slabs on the ground. Celebrants run through fields of brightly hued flowers, drinking and dancing and laughing. Okay, so it looks like there's a time limit here. The roses bloom, soon they will fade. Okay, there are things that I could do here. There are so many choices. Okay, so I'm clearly going to need to do this a few times, which means I'm going to need access to moments of inspiration. I'm going to have to look up how to reliably get those. I could take a gift of the rose. I don't know. I'm going to look up what some of these do, because I don't want to waste my time here just to get kind of mundane things. Okay, so after checking, they are kind of relatively mundane rewards. So I'm definitely going to do this first, approach the Thorn Maiden. A poet places a garland of silver roses around her neck and bids her follow him to the caverns, where they might gaze on the moon together. The Thorn Maiden laughs and turns away. A bacchant with wild eyes takes the Thorn Maiden's hand in her own, coiling their fingers together like serpents in a nest. The Thorn Maiden smiles distantly, extricates her hand, and turns to a third, a fiddler with eyes flecked with gold. I think you are ready. The roses have taken enough of you. She ignores you entirely. Okay. uh... Okay. Oh, what is resting among the roses? Okay, I should have expected it reduces terror. I don't know. Should we take a gift of the rose? That seems like it has pretty good outcomes. Do I want a celebrant with lobelia tangled in his hair leads you to a patch of roses blooming in red and black and gold. Each gleams with something akin to dew. The youth pulls back the petals of the nearest, exposing a jewel, broad as an athlete's thigh and faceted as the mortal soul, nestling in the rose's maw. Huh. Only take one. They will be affronted should they all be plucked at once. He offers no further explanation. Which will you take? These all have the same outcome, which is weird. Well, so which would I like? A ruby, an onyx, or a citrine? Let's take a citrine. The petals brush against your hand like sylphs as you reach in to grasp the golden stone. It smells of honey and wine. A dream, the celebrant says beatifically. The finest of dreams. Money and visions of the heavens. Okay, so I need to remember to participate in the mystery of beholding when the white roses have almost faded. Okay. Yeah, I don't really need it. Can I talk to you again? Does this change anything? She ignores me entirely again. Okay. I don't know. What should I do next? Let's, dream in the roses. Partial success. 3 rose binders lead you to a pile of soft cushions blooming with white and black roses. They tie a scarlet blindfold daubed with honey over your eyes. You drift away with your head filled with the slow, distant sound of drums. In your dream, you... I don't know. Speak with the gardener. The nearest wears plates of polished brass beneath his robe. We were here once before. It has grown wild in our absence. He hands you secateurs. The horse must be broken if it will be ridden. That's an interesting statement. Your hands are soon sticky with tears. What? Okay, so the horse must be broken if it will be ridden means we have to tame this rose garden if we want to use the roses. But what is using the roses in this case? I guess the things we've been doing, but I feel like I still don't understand the central mystery of this rite. Like this all seems kind of secondary. Well, I guess we'll find out. What haven't I done yet? Should I cavort amongst the roses? Sure. The divine Elgabalus never knew such indulgence. Elagabalus. Roses in a multitude of colors, blue, emerald, violet, and carnelian, open from the temple roof, showering celebrants with petals. The arboretum is a riot of laughter and song. You sip dew wine, kiss lips sticky with it, sing along to the throbbing of the drums beneath your feet. Whenever you stumble, a rose binder is at your side to right you and guide you back to the revel. So that reduces terror, that's good to know. And we still can't do that. Let's kiss a rose. You bend to a rose the shade of a smoldering sun. The scent is of burning jasmine. The color draws your eye in. Your tongue follows. The taste is as the ashes of Savonarola raining down on Florence. Drops of nectar wash down your throat like stolen sips of wine. Despite the bitterness, you feel a yearning inside your stomach. It's as though you swallowed the longings of a sun. It passes in moments. My soul just changed. Huh. I wonder what, like, soul flaw I got. Okay. Let us participate in the mystery of beholding. As you join the group, a rose binder places their hands on your shoulders. They steer you through the rose-covered portico and into the little shrine. Here, a copse of roses the size of church windows bloom. Cool. Some are saffron-hued, others crimson, others azure. So, very dark colors. Very, very vivid colors, right? Saffron's like a really intense red, so is crimson. Azure's like a very dark blue. Right? No, Azure's like sky blue. Right? No, it's like medium blue. Okay. Oh, and saffron's more like orangey than red. Okay. Don't be afraid, the rose binder at your ear says. Look inside, they have something to show you. Peer into a saffron rose. Something in the rose suggests a gift. The crimson rose suggests a gift. The azure rose suggests a gift. And then there is also a white rose. You can hear nothing within. Loss emanates from the pale flower. The petals shiver and open slightly, as though they want to be opened fully. Something in the rose suggests loss. I think this sounds ominous, but it's the only thing that's different. And again, like, the gift is probably something that I could get somewhere else eventually, right? Let's peer into the white rose. The flower unfurls to show you a vision of yourself alone. No crew, no engine, just you and the mirror facing each other. The mirror begins to devour you. Your reflection shivers as pieces of your flesh slicken and shiver the glass. Running down the mirror in rivulets of blood, a rose binder pulls you away. I have given something to the roses. Okay. Okay. Return from the rites. Aha, aha, look at this. This participate in the mystery of indulgence, I think, is something that I could do next time that I didn't have the option to before. Yeah, the mystery of beholding was what I just did. Mystery of indulgence should now be open to me since I gave of myself to the roses, hopefully. Talk to the Bohemians. I haven't done that yet. A louche youth with acres of golden hair invites you into his little company. They sit before the throne, painting roses onto each other's bodies. A rose black as the liberation blooms on his white chest. A pair of twins have daubed a pattern of roses linked like chains. It begins on the right of her neck and ends on the nail of his smallest left toe. Cool. An elderly poet, his mustaches ringed with roses, explains that they are merely passing the time. We are somewhat listless between the rites, he explains, when the sunlight pours through and we may taste the rose. I'm still not understanding what the purpose of the rite is. Still not understanding it. Okay, I'm still not initiated enough. Whoops. Alright, see ya. Okay, so... Okay. I think I've done all I can here. So what am I gonna need? I'm gonna need more moments of inspiration. I'll have to figure out how to get those. Okay, and then what else is on my agenda here? Right, Eagles Empyrean. Now I would want to go straight there, except I've still got like 5 people at the House of Rods and Chains that I need to pick up in another 4 days, I think. So I don't want to go too far. Maybe we'll find like the next port along the chain. Or wasn't there something I had to do in Pan as well? There was something I had to do in Pan. What are you doing? We're going to Piranesi. What? Repentant Devil, what's your deal? I haven't talked to you recently, have I? Oh, Memories of Caduceus. Hey. Well, you must have passed through here at one time. After the Well of the Wolf, the devils could no longer remain in the sight of the judgments, not if we intended to live. We escaped through Caduceus into Parabola, the place that is not, and from there, onward. We were a people in exile, not strong enough to take a place and hold it for our own, not weak enough to be welcomed as refugees. It was an intolerable time, and I take no pleasure in remembering it. Wow, so that's a fucking lore dump. After the Well of the Wolf, that's that well in Albion. I don't know what that means. Something happened there, apparently. The devils could no longer remain in the sight of the judgments. So, was it like a battle that the devils lost? Something transpired there that altered the balance of power, right? So they escaped through Caduceus into Parabola. Is that like the place behind the mirrors? Or like through the mirror? Interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, how's my soul looking, dude? Did I just... Okay. I have 3 soul flaws. It's not worth much in its present condition. Okay, yeah, I know. Well, fuck you too. Okay. I need Chorister Nectar and Dried Tea to keep going with his quest. What are we doing with you, Feline Eccentric? Imposters. What am I doing with you? What are we doing here? Um, 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 um. Where... You're going to Atlas, where the hell that is. Somewhere here, apparently. You're going to London. Feline Eccentric is going to Piranesi as well. I believe... Yeah, and the princess is going to Piranesi also. And, okay. A lot of things driving me to Eagles Empyrean. A lot of things taking me to Piranesi. And Atlas. Two for each. Okay, and then I think I need to talk to my aunt again. What's up, aunt? What was that about St. Dunstan's? What's got you shaken up at Carillon? Oh, what are you up to? Hold on right now. Oh, right, she's holding a tea party, or I'm not invited. Rude. Alright, what was up at St. Dunstan's, aunt? When I was a gal, I used to do a bit of spying for the crown. Now I've been out of the trade for years, but I couldn't help but overhear an intriguing conversation. People rarely pay attention to ladies of my age. She gives you a look, as though daring you to disagree. They said revolutionaries helped our government conquer Albion. They mentioned a secret rendezvous at St. Dunstan's between 4 representatives, a new sequencer, a revolutionary, and 2 members of Her Majesty's government. I have to get to the bottom of this. It's my duty. I have a friend at Port Prosper who owes me a favor, and we can get lunch. Alright, I should have checked on that sooner, because that's quite a ways away. That's alright, though. Okay, so we've got 2 things to do in Atlas. We've got 2 things to do in Piranesi, and it's like 17 things to do in Eagles Empyrean. So do we have any clue as to where the hell those are? Eagles Empyrean we know is just west of the place, which means practically anywhere is closer than that. Yeah, so let's go along the daisy chain one more, see if we can find something interesting. We've got a decent amount of fuel, not like oodles and poodles of it, but enough. It's fine. We'll see what kind of trouble we can get up to. Is this something I can pass through? It looks like it. Let's find out! Yes. Creepy sounds? Or is it just wind? No, there's some creepiness going on here, dude. What is that? Oh, that's a... whatever they're called. Moaner or a groaner or a grumper or a... frumper. Come on. Start the lateral motion. Where'd you go? Get... I don't like that they come in groups. Die. Die. Thank you. Oh, there's something over there. What the hell is that? Is that another one? Oh, moment of inspiration. Trade visions of the heavens for a moment of inspiration. That's awesome. Now, it does cost a lot, but I also gain experience. Should I just go back right now and do that, do the Rite of the Rose again? You know what? No, I'm going to wait until I have more terror, because there were, like, surefire ways within that to reduce terror. That's really nice, though. I like that. Ooh, I could also strip its hide to repair my hull. That's okay. My hull's pretty fine for right now. Alright, what's this creepy sound? Is this ambient? No, it sounds localized. What is this? What? Another well. The Bête Noire, a place of misery. That means black sheep, I believe. This is definitely another well. Wells are prisons, Captain, remember that. The Well of Wonders. The air is thick as treacle. The rocks rattle against the hull, thrown by the well winds. From deep in the darkness comes a sound, the tortured whine of damp violins and rusted horns, the universe tuning its instruments. Descend into the well. Hulls can be repaired. Yeah, sure, dude. Between the well's pull and the well wind's push, your locomotive is jerked and jolted. The engine room is unbearable. But before your stokers collapse, you push through to a calm beneath the storm, a bubble of peace surrounding a floating garden. Here, a maze of pebbled paths and immaculate hedges leads only to vicious thorned bushes which surround the island. More thorn bushes. A full half of the place is dominated by a Grecian-style theater, with seats carved out of a hill to face a stage of bone-white sand. Okay. Awake, the play will begin once again. This time, my story will be told. Visitors from far away, a new taste in the air. You trespass in my garden. I don't mean to trespass. The silence is broken. Clumsy animal footsteps. The stench of human flesh in my presence. You calling me an animal? Trespassers, you walk my paths, pluck the fruit from my trees, gorge yourselves until your bellies ache and your fat chins glisten with juice. Enjoy your stolen feast. You and you will join my chorus. The rest of you are not worthy of a role. Wait, that one, the captain, walking alone. I think that's me. The captain, yes, a different kind of soul. A spark of potential? Perhaps, we shall see. Prepare to wake up, my children. We have guests. The humans disembark to enjoy the calm my garden provides. Flower-perfumed air brushes their oily skin. Red apples burden the trees and swollen berries cluster on every bush. They pause, cautious, but soon feasting begins. Oh, this is interesting. So it's like, this is the narrative, but I get a choice in which direction it takes. So does the captain explore the garden, or does the captain tour the theater? I tour the theater. Preparations are complete, but for one last thing. The stage is set. It is perfect. I would not permit otherwise. The trespasser captain stands on my stage to witness the entrance of the audience. Their crew fills the front row. More of their kind, recent arrivals, takes the next few rows. Behind them, men of rubber and outcast bats and buzzing devils and the rest are of no consequence. They can only hope for the privilege of witnessing a story greater than their own. They will finally have that chance. The humans disembark, same thing. Okay, so now I explore the garden. What's going on in the garden? Geez. The trespasser captain approaches warily, despite the welcoming sense of afternoon tea. The tea is hot. The scones are soft and warm, dribbling with butter and strawberry jam. My guests sit frozen in their endless repast, watching eternity through unblinking, bloodshot eyes. The captain looks closer at the lost girl, the speaker of my truth. Are these, Wait a minute. Are some of these... No. Guess not. Okay, the lost girl. The first of my delightful pets. She fled her life, all the way down a rabbit hole. In my garden, that dream came true. So many years have not passed for her since then. Cool Alice reference. So this is, yeah, the Eternal Tea Party. So it's this, some place where time is kind of paused. Yeah, a garden where time is still. Okay, what about... The Restless Vagabond. Is that my Restless Vagabond? My king who wars. Who else could take on such a role? His wanderings followed the sun beyond the edge of any map, but all such travels must cease eventually. Okay, so I don't know if that's mine. The Runaway Scion. A poor match for the king who speaks, but one that suffices. A prince in waiting, fleeing an extinct kingdom. I've seen the royal blood spilled many times. His veins will not endure another performance of my story. Interesting, interesting. The thrice dead bride. She found profit in love and death many times over. Her story should have ended at the bottom of the well where her last victim overcame her. But the deepest wells often echo each other. When circumstances are right, their depths can bleed together. The deepest wells often echo each other. When circumstances are right, their depths can bleed together. So, okay. So, she marries guys, pushes them into the well, and, you know, inherits all their stuff. But the last time she did it, she somehow came through to this well and was trapped here. Okay. The Careless Scholar. The knowledge tempts people to strange shores. What did they think they would find with that contraption of mirrors and glass? A chance at glory? Soon, my scholar. The captain notices the empty seat. A spare stone bench by the table, awaiting its player. Will you sit in it, my captain? Are you, at last, the one our story has waited for? The stage is set. The stars themselves hold their breath. No, I don't think I'd like to sit here for all eternity and tell a story. Alright, the captain takes their assigned seat. Being the Ballad of the Solonation Conjunction, a tragedy of treachery, injustice, and revolution in one act, as it is performed in defiance of the false king of Eleutheria. Interesting. Okay, so remember, conjunctions are uh, like nations or alliances of stars. So Solunacia is the name of this particular conjunction, I guess. In defiance of the false king of Eleutheria. Who's the false king? Alright, we've got the Speaker of Truth, the King who wars, the King who speaks, the Mistress of the Chorus, the Prince Apostle, and I'm the Prophet Exile. Enter, Speaker of Truth. Chapter 1, a prologue. Or Act 1, or Scene 1, a prologue. External, a burning forest in a land far away, long before recorded time. A contingent of princes of light, sons presumably, led by the exiled prophet, are carried in a convoy of palanquins by members of the chorus. Speaker of Truth, once again we wake to perform our captor's song. With our blood we give it shape and new life. Let us pour a libation to any gods that might hear, a prayer that this telling might be the last. Travel with us now to a time long forgot, where the twin kings of measure and distance reigned. Okay, so kings are again presumably sons, right? Here a prophet came with princes of ambition, bearing the spark of celestial revolution. The revolutionaries made camp, here overlooking the palace of the twin kings. Even from this distance the light burned. The prophet was in exile from a place that was not. In the courts of the judgments it spoke and was shunned. But the lesser gods of the heavens listened and followed. In robes of saffron and cinnabar they sought a new order. Okay, so I think the order is like the dominion of a certain sun, or of a conjunction. So, like, they sought a new monarchy, basically. The Princes of Light, we travel with honor to petition the Twin Kings to let Eleutheria lead the way to the promised conjunction. Scene 2, the Forest of Burning Twilight. A campsite in the Twin Kings' domain. Purple flames burn in the treetops. The Prophet Exile holds court in rags of red and yellow, their face hidden. The Princes of Light whet their blades and sing of revolution. The Prophet Exile prepared a messenger. The Twin Kings had to be informed of the new arrivals. The Prince Apostle. Great Prophet, I beg of you, do not be deceived. The false gods of old will not be swayed by logic or sentiment. We must show them respect, but keep our blades sharp. Greet them as friends, yet expect no welcome in their court. The Prophet Exile sent a message of... I don't know. Well, we know how the story ends, right? So do I try to go against the narrative, or do I follow the narrative? The Prophet Exile... I don't know, sent a message of greeting, let's be friendly. Was this how it happened? The details fade. Stories change so easily, even history can be bent around them. No, I guess not. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. Okay, the Prophet took a moment to reflect. You deviate from the script? How reckless. You try to stall, my captain? It will not work. The play will be performed. You will play your part, and mine. I will be free. The Prophet Exile considered itself. Thought on its past. Returned to the camp. The Prophet Exile considered itself. Oh, considered itself. So the whatever is trapped in the well is the Prophet Exile. Very well, I am a storyteller become story. All stories yearn to reach their end. When mine is finally complete, I will languish in ignominy no more. So you want to escape somehow. Anyway. The Prophet Exile thought on its past. The Prophet had little form but a fading memory of a place far away where dreams were truth and reflections doorways. A slithering under robes, a flicker of red, a priest king with no god, seeking... That will be quite enough of that, my dear speaker. My secrets are my own. Our trespasser captain needs only to know the part they must play in our tale. More snakes! Slithering! Of a place far away where dreams... Okay, so, again, like, the Prophet Exile comes from this place beyond the mirror. Whether they're one of those snaky people themselves, or if there are multiple factions in that realm, who knows? priest king with no god, seeking what exactly? Okay. Alright, the prophet exile spoke to the princes of light. The prophet had gathered them, princes who would not be kings, the young and weak, outcasts. Their ambitions were easy to twist. The princes of light, down with the kings and the light of their laws. We stand with our prophet exile and the wise apostle. The prophet considered the apostle, the first among equals. My apostle, the first to shield me from the light that burned away my existence. The light of the arrogant kings. Their princes were not willing to languish in service, in the hope of a glory that the kings would never offer them. Ah, but wrapped up in stories of inevitable victory and cowering bravely behind my figurehead, their resentment became my serrated blade. So these people who live behind the mirror are kind of outcasts from the sun's light. They seem to not be able to abide in the dominions of the sun, or at least not easily. So this prophet has a vested interest in plotting the downfall of this kingdom. That's their true motive, right? Or at least one of them. The messenger returned. The prophet exile called for the princes of light to assemble, to hear the response of the twin kings. The messenger came, resplendent in black robes, offering an olive branch of peace to the prophet and princes. The twin kings had granted a hearing, a conclave to discuss matters of transformation. Scene 3, Palace of the Twin Kings. Interior, an ancient throne room, built and bathed in the light of law. On a throne of fire sits the king who speaks. On a throne of obsidian sits the king who wars. They are the twin kings of Eleutheria, united in ruling. The prophet exile approached with gifts. Despite them granting protection to their visitors, the lambent glare of the twin kings still burned. The Prince Apostle. My lords, your wisdom is known and revered. We come in submission under the flag of our prophet, to show you a glimpse of the future we seek to build, and to prove false those who speak against us. Princes of light, hail to the twin kings and the light of their laws. We throw the fate of our cause upon your mercy. The prophet had brought gold and gems. The king who wars, we accept your tribute, but not your cause. Only my brother's curiosity grants your protection. Do not mistake it for ratification or approval. The prophet began to speak, not words of injustice, but of change, of the laws that bound the makers of laws tighter than any. That bound the makers of law tighter than any. Oh, isn't it so tiresome to rule? Wouldn't it be better if you didn't have to have all that responsibility? He spoke of another place where chaos flourished. The king who wars, your words have been spoken, and your cause is rejected. Be gone from our sight before our hospitality wanes. The king who speaks, but brother, what in our sight has ever flourished in stasis? Must we reject even the notion of change? What good is our rule if it only causes stagnation? The king who wars, the chain binds us all. It is our privilege to enforce it. To question it? No, you forget your place. This matter is settled. I have spoken. The chain? What is that? Some kind of rule. Some kind of law. Interesting. Do I speak up in agreement, or do I fall quiet? Let's speak up in agreement. The king who wars. Enough! Damn, wrong choice. This circus has ended. Be gone from our sight. Consider your lives a gift of my counterpart's soft heart. Scene 4, the aftermath. Exterior. The prophet exiles camp. The princes of light whisper of the anger of the king who wars. As he fumes, the very sky broils. A fearful gathering was taking place. Where would the princes go from here? Prince of light. Our hope for an ally lies crumbled and burned. What hope do we have now? The Prince Apostle. Have faith in our prophet. Their wisdom will provide. We need but a symbol of our courage to light the new path. The twin kings lack unity. We have a chance to show the rest that they spurn us at their peril. Speaker of truth. But that boast was interrupted. A visitor had come. Enter the king who speaks. That's the one who is more sympathetic to us. He approached without guards or attendants, a beacon of light in the dark forest. My king, without messenger or brother, what brings you so far away from the safety of your throne? The king who speaks. I come not to quarrel, but in supplication. Our light grows dim. Your prophet speaks truth. My other half would quash all change. I see we must evolve, become greater. Let the old order fall, and from the ashes rebuild. The prophet was wary. Why would a king sacrifice their power so readily? The prophet was overjoyed. This was a chance to send a message. Let's do that one. In their palaces, the kings were untouchable. To venture from the safety of his palace was foolish, but such an opportunity should never be wasted. Scene 5, a night of transfiguration. Exterior, the forest of burning twilight. A great pyre has been built. The princes of light and the prophet exile welcome their latest disciple, the king who speaks. The prophet bade the king remove his armor, a symbol of trust, a symbol of faith. Disarmed, the king who speaks. To the revolution I give my armor and shield. Let my brothers in arms be my protection. So shall it be in the name of the revolution. The prophet bade the king remove his vestments, the symbols of royal authority, the trappings of power. The king who speaks. I stand before you as an equal, with nothing to hide. Let me be wrapped in your cause, and it alone be my warmth. Princes of light. So shall it be in the name of the revolution. I think we all see where this is going. The prophet took the king who speaks his fealty, a pledge to the revolution, a pledge to the new order. The king who speaks. You have my sword, you have my pledge, you have my service, from now until my darkening. Princes of light. So shall it be in the name of the revolution. Ambush. At their prophet's signal, the princes drew their knives. They stabbed the king's unprotected soul. Princes of light. Enough, the deed is done. Let daggers come to rest. The prince apostle. Gather the fool's armor. Drink his light. A god lies at our feet. His other half will be next. Soon Eleutheria will be our bastion and our call. We ride into battle with the break of the dawn. All present. So shall it be in the name of the revolution. The captain objects to this betrayal? The king came willingly to the slaughter. Or the captain would have done the same. A king so easily tricked is unworthy of their rule. My character would say the second. He declared fealty of his own free will, and it was the only path for our revolution, to depose the kings and to make Eleutheria the new kingdom I had promised my followers would rule. Of course, under my guidance. All we had to do was press the advantage, or so we believed. Scene 6, the king in mourning. Interior, the palace of the Halved. The fiery throne of the king who speaks has fallen. The hall shakes with the king who wars his fury. Burning marble rains down from the ceiling, exposing a blood-red sky. So the Halved is the king who wars. And we've seen him. Why is he not bright? The king who wars mounted his chariot. His anger was cold, an ancient fury. Speaker of truth. The king who wars his chariot thundered through the sky. The night burned crimson, the forests became ash. This was how a king fought, with fire and light, and the princes learned the folly of their youth. The king who wars. Scream not for the comfort of oblivion. Such mercy is not for traitors to know. As you burn forever in my palace, in the flames of anger you have ignited. And you, false prophet from the land beyond mirrors, architect and abettor who put yourself above both gods and kings, for you a storyteller's cruelest fate. Guards, bring them hither. The prophet was taken to the place of punishment. The darkness of the well awaited them. Scene 7, Fall of a Prophet. Exterior, a well deep in Eleutheria. The prophet exile is bound in chains of sorrow. At the king's gesture, a guard extracts a molten metal mask from a forge. No eyes, no mouth, never to see the outside world, never to speak treason again. The mask silenced both screams and rebellion. The king who wars. Let justice be done, and all gathered bear witness as we cast this outsider into their final rest. Let their flesh rot till all that's left is a cry that shall never escape this echoing place. A story to rage into the darkness, never to be told. An anger never to be sated or released. With mortality severed, cast this wretch down the well. Judgment is rendered. I commend thee to hell. See, that's... You got greedy, king. You got greedy because anybody who's allowed to live forever is allowed to scheme forever. and try to wriggle their way out. And so I was thrown to the well, reduced to nothing but a story, one never to be told. But I am patient. Speaker of truth. And so the conjunction was ended, and the king made the decree that all stories be forbidden in Eleutheria's domain. That's why stories are forbidden here. To prevent further treason or call for revolution. But stories are stronger than kings or their princes, and a second would come with its own consequences. But that is a tale for another time and place. Ours has at last been told to completion. It lives in your mind now, and when you depart, our captor will be with you, a whisper in the dark. Scene 8, to be continued. Here we are at last, Captain. I chose well. So many times we tried to tell the story. So many times we failed. Finally, the curtain falls. The lost souls of my audience are free to carry the tale of my revolution across the heavens. In its telling I will live again, and watch the stars themselves fall. When they are dark, and my brethren behind glass no longer have cause to fear their laws. But that is none of your concern, Captain. I return your small life and crew to you. Consider that the expression of my gratitude. The performance is over. The story is told. There will be no encore. The dim light of the theater returns. Rows of desiccated corpses in the audience stare back at you. Ugh. Only your own crew has not succumbed to the ravages of time. Your hands are wet and sticky. The knife in your hand drips blood. You're on the stage. Your clothes are soaked with blood. The corpse of the runaway scion is at your feet, killed by the knife in your hand. The rest of the cast lie around you, now mere ash and bones. Only the lost girl remains, no longer young. The debt of uncountable years hangs on her elderly skin. As her last second ticks away, she slumps to sitting, lies down. She smiles at you and shuts her eyes. She is at peace. The end. Something slithers at the back of your mind, just for a moment. It is gone. The garden is completely overgrown. Most of its paths are impassable. The great theater is empty save for your own crew. The rest of the audience is gone. Your role here is over. The prophet exile has escaped from their well, reduced to a mere whisper of revolution, but a story that even the gods could not destroy. It will be told again, far from here. It lives. I've gained a searing enigma, and the prophet exile has escaped the well. Wow, that was fucking awesome. So, oh man. Okay, so the rebel in me, the little anarchist, is like, well, anytime there are laws that bind people tightly in place, I balk at those, right? But you have to wonder, I don't think there are any, straight up good guys or bad guys in this story. The sons, the twin kings have their dominion. The devils have theirs, or not the devils. Yeah, the twin kings have their dominion here. And the people who reside behind the mirror in, what is it, Parabola, is that what it's called? Have designs to, it seems like, take over this kingdom? Everything? Unclear. The question is, would that be a good thing? Would that be a bad thing? Would it be, same shit, different day type of situation? Clearly someone willing to plan an elaborate assassination like that and follow it through is not exactly entirely altruistic, right? But machinations upon machinations. And I wonder, it said the prophet has escaped from the well, so does that have implications further on for the story? I don't know. Very interesting.